Hey guys, wanted to quickly talk to the buyer out there who is between the 1 million to 5 million range, always asks me one particular question before, during we having the buyer assessment, right? They always ask me this question. They'll ask me, do you think the timing is right? Do you think the price is going to go further down? Now, I could pull data out of the market of actual closing prices, of actual prices that the transactions are happening, and I could show like, look, the prices over the last 24 months have kind of stopped sliding, or the last 12 months have kind of stopped sliding, or I could, it doesn't really matter what I say, because I'll be honest with you, nobody can predict the market. Number one, you're not buying in the stock market, okay? So the stock market is generally prone to a lot of volatility. The prices can go up and down and quite volatile. The real estate market, not so much, right? A real estate transaction can take realistically from a week to a month to 3 months to sometimes a year, right? It's not a very liquid asset. If you're going out there and buying in the stock market, right, and becoming an owner of a company, but we're worried about the volatility in the stock market, I understand that, right? Because the price of the share sometimes goes up and down, and that might affect the amount of equity you can show on your books. But to be honest with you, if you today bought in Apple, right, and one stock in Apple, let's say, for instance, or one stock in Microsoft or IBM or Facebook, or for that matter, and tomorrow if that price went down by 50%, would you be really worried, and would you really want to just quickly sell that stock? Or would you be like, okay, you know what, the underlying value of Apple being a good company that produces good products, is pretty much stable and it's there, so I'm not really worried about that, right? Number one. So if you're going to be buying value, then you shouldn't be really that worried, and we'll come back to how to assess value. Number two, I don't know any fund managers, and there's been research on this, who have been consistently able to time the stock market, okay? They have quants and they've got computers, they've got programs that are beyond our imagination. Stuff that they can do is quite complicated, and yet they can't time the market, right? So if you and I sit here trying to time the Dubai real estate market, I can give you an answer that you will like, perhaps, right? That will make me an easier sale, perhaps. But honestly speaking, you can't predict the market. So therefore, please stop timing it, right? I'll give you an example just from recent history, just 3-4 years ago, right? November 27, 2013, it was announced that Dubai was going to be able to host the Expo 2020, right? Prices were already kind of increasing before that, but right after that, prices kind of like skyrocketed, right? So nobody could expect this, but December prices went up, January prices went up 2014, and then February prices kind of went up 2014, and right after February, guess what happened, right? Prices started tapering off, prices started falling down. Nobody really saw that coming, did you? Nobody could have timed it, right? If you were buying in January, hoping for the bull run to continue for another year or so, or all the way to 2020, well, guess what? You're out of luck, my friend. So I always recommend people, look, if you're a buyer, get involved. Have a trustworthy agent. It doesn't have to be me. Find somebody who you trust from the market, and you are intelligent. You can really judge who's trustworthy and who's speaking honestly to you. Speak to a few, interview a few, and then go with them, right? And help them, let them educate you and hold your hand, especially if it's your first transaction in Dubai. I'll give you an example, right? I had somebody come to me and he wanted to buy a property worth about 5 million, 6 million dirhams. A family friend, somebody I know, they wanted to actually buy a villa worth around that range to actually live in it, right? So what did we do, right? We went and we made some field trips, right? I call them research field trips. So we went to different locations in Dubai, we went to different locations and different villas in different locations, right? And we zeroed in on one particular villa, and that one particular kind that they liked, right? This was priced between, asking prices were about above 6 million plus, with closing prices between 5.7 to 5.9, right? A couple of weeks later, we looked at all the villas in the market for that range, for that kind of villa, everything priced about 5.9, 5.7, 6.1, 6.2. A couple of weeks later, a villa came onto the market and the guy was asking for 5.4, would probably close at 5.2. The reason he was doing that was he had bought it off an auction, like a distressed sale, right? Now, immediately, because we had done our homework and we knew that market prices for this type of villa or this type of property was 5.7, 8 or 9, something that comes in the market at 5.4 and can close at 5.2 million, do you think that's a good deal? Do you think at this stage you should be really worried if the timing is right? No, because you have been able to establish the parameters to know that you're getting value, right? I'll give you another simple example to really run this point home. I know as much about cars as the really lay person, right? So supercars, I know what a Ferrari is, I know what a Lamborghini is, and I know what a Bugatti is, but I really don't know what's the difference between torque and horsepower and what a 3.6 and a 4.8 liter engine does for you, right? I like a nice car, I like to drive it, I don't know much about it, right? So if I went into the market to buy a Ferrari, and I looked at the first Ferrari that I came by and it was priced at, I don't know, like 400,000, half a million, whatever, 1 million. Do you think that I would know if I'm getting a good deal or not? If it's value for money at that price or if I'm being ripped off? I wouldn't. But I would be able to assess the same if I went and spoke to a couple of friends or some trusted dealers or sellers, salespeople, who knew what they were talking about and would educate me about the market, would tell me a little bit more and tell me why this car is priced at this, right? And if I went 2-3 times out looking for the car, I would be able to pretty much establish what's the bottom price of a certain model Ferrari that I can get today's market in Dubai. Wouldn't you? Yes, you would. All you need is somebody trustworthy advising you, and then you gotta either let them do the hard work or roll up your own sleeves, right? Don't be afraid of the grease. Get out there, do some homework. And if you can't, then please seek out the assistance of somebody trustworthy and then let them help you, right? And then you'll know if you're getting value for money. Thanks. Until next time.